and we're going to go to layout mode. Now for some of you, the field might have already automatically appeared. This is a setting that you set in the preferences. I have it disabled. So I'm going to add the field to this layout. Okay, good. Now we don't want to type yes and no every single time. So let's create a value list. Manage, value lists, and we'll click new, and we'll call this one yes, no. And okay, this one is not going to use values from a field, so we're actually going to select this third option, and you just enter a value and you hit enter. So we have two values now to this list. And another feature, as you see here, is if you want to have a little separator between them, this will separate those. So let's take a look at what that looks like. We'll go to layout mode, double click this field, display as a drop down list, and we'll choose the yes no value list that we created, and we'll click OK. Now let's go back to browse mode, and there you go. So we'll just quickly go through our records here, and yes, this company is active. This company is not active. Let's create a new record. Note that it automatically put a default value as I set. Great. Now we're going to go back to our contacts table. And what I want to do now is I want to show whether the company is active or not in this value list. So now we're going to get into calculations. Now let's go to our database menu. What is a calculation? It's basically a command or a series of commands or values that you're going to give this field that is going to calculate in real time a new value. Alright? So these are basically static fields where you input data and it holds them. Well, a calculation can contain variable data and it will update depending on what information you have in the other fields. So let's go to our tables tab, and we're going to double click the company, and we're going to create a field called display name, and we're going to set this to calculation. Let's click create, and we're going to get this box here. Now it looks a little complicated, but there's basically three main areas to this dialog. On the left we have the tables of our database as well as their fields. This is so that we don't have to type them out. And here we have a list of functions that FileMaker has already provided for use. These are like math functions, text functions, things of this nature. And in this box, this is where we're going to actually type out our calculation. A key thing to remember is that you need to tell FileMaker what the result of this calculation should be interpreted as, whether it come back as a text field, a number field, etc. So what we're going to do is we want to see the active or inactive status next to each company name on our file list, our value list. So we're going to create this calculation. Double click company name. We're going to use the ampersand, which is basically the same as telling FileMaker that this text plus a certain amount of text. And we're going to use quotes, and we're going to put a comma in there, and we're going to add the status. And of course this result should be text. So let's go ahead and change that. And let's take a look at what this does. So let's click OK. And we'll click OK again. We'll go to layout mode. We're going to drag a new field onto the layout, and we're going to choose display name. And let's stretch this out a little bit. Let's go back to browse mode. Great. So now I can tell the company name as well as its status. Okay. Let's go ahead and add over here in the company table Let's say we say, okay, now it's not active. ABC company, they owe us money or something like that. We go to contacts and you'll see that it updates. Okay, so let's go make our value list show this value now. All we have to do is select this new calculation. Let's hit OK. And if you notice now, we have all three fields appearing: the ID, the name of the company, and its current status.